For this video I'm going to be making a striped friendship bracelet. Now I'm going to work as a chevron, so to begin I'm going to convert the beginning into a chevron point before I start the main pattern. I'm going to be working from the beginning of a loop, but you could do it from a flat edge if you preferred. So to get started you want to arrange your threads in colour order. So I've got two identical sections each side and I've got two colours on either side and a contrast colour in the centre for each section. So you want a mirror image at each side. So to get started I'm going to begin the chevron conversion first. So I want to separate the two sections and then I want to take the two threads at either side that are going to meet in the centre. And then I want to do a knot for these, and you can do this in whichever direction you like. So I'm just doing forward knots for mine. And then you want to take your next thread at each side. And so for this one I'm working towards the centre each time, so I'm going to be doing forward knots at this side. And then at this side I want to do backward knots. And then once these are both in the centre you can work in whichever direction you like. So for me I always do forward knots when I meet in the centre. So then I want to take my next thread, again at each side. So on the left I want to work forward the first time and then backward, and then drop this thread and then take this one I've just worked over and go forward to the centre. And then I want to do a mirror of this at the other side. So taking the contrast stripe colour, I'm going to go backward and then I'm going to switch and go forward and then drop this colour and go backward to the centre. And then I'll take the two centre threads and just knot these together. And then taking the next thread, to keep in with my pattern I want to take the thread that I've just worked at the beginning of the last row and I'm going to go backward for the first knot and then forward for the next knot. And then over the next thread I want to go forward and then backward. This ensures it stays in the same position each time. And then taking the thread I've just worked over, again work towards the centre with a forward knot. And I want to do a mirror of this at the other side. So taking the thread next to the next one in the sequence, I want to work forward and then switch and work backward. And then over the next thread I want to go backward and then forward to keep it in the same position. And then I want to go backward to the centre. And then knot my centre threads. So this is my last row to create the chevron point. So I'm going to take the outside thread and then I'm going to go forward and forward. And then for the contrast colour I'm going to take that one and I'm going to go backward and then forward. And then over the next thread I'm going to go forward and then backward and then forward to the centre. and then I want a mirror of that at the other side. So taking my last thread, I'm going to go backward, backward, and then over the contrast colour I want to go forward and then backward, and then backward and forward and then backward to the centre. And then knot your centre threads. And this is the exact same sequence that you're going to use for the remainder of your rows until you've got the bracelet as long as you want it to be. And once you've finished, you should end up with something that looks like this. So if you started with a loop, you want 2 braided tie-on ends at one end. Alternately, if you started with a flat edge, you want 1 braided tie-on end here and 1 braided tie-on end at this end. And that is your completed long striped friendship bracelet.